Okay, Neil, we are live. We are joined. I'm hearing myself talk twice here.
It's okay for me. Yeah, it's probably your Facebook and your Zoom link bouncing off each other.
Okay. All right, here we go. All right, Neil. So we are joined this morning by Neil Forbes. Neil Forbes, and I have been working together the past 6 months. Neil has absolutely smashed it. So far, he's lost, not only has lost 37 pounds so far. He's a new man, completely transformed. The way he looks and thinks about dieting and weight loss and stuff, found that work-life balance, improved his energy levels and getting a better night's sleep. So today, Neil is going to share with us what he's done to achieve the success that he has achieved in this program, and hopefully give some insights, some people who are struggling with this, some tips and stuff to take away. Okay, Neil, so why don't we start with, just tell us a wee bit about yourself, who you are, who is Neil, what does Neil get up to in his spare time?
Neil Forbes, stay in Haddington, retired police officer, 12 years retired now next week, but I'm a tour operator now. In real world I do whisky tours, golf tours, history tours of Scotland. We have a travel agency, but during COVID it's really just been whisky tasting online. So yeah, a different life, put a bit of weight on over the last few years. Hobbies, drinking whisky, playing the odd game of golf, football. I'm very big in the Tartan Army. I'm chairman of the Tartan Army Sunshine Appeal, which is a big hobby of mine. So yeah, lots of things. Rotary Club, you name it, I'm involved in it. I think just to keep myself busy. So yeah, quite a lot of things.
Yeah, so you'll find Neil everywhere.
Absolutely.
Nice one. All right, Neil. So tell us a wee bit about where you were before we started working together. Now, we've been doing stuff for 6 months now, so it was back in December 2020 that we got in touch and stuff. Where were you at the time? Do you remember?
I was just overweight. Just look at myself. I do a lot of whisky tastings online just now, so it's all videoed. And looking back at myself in the videos, I thought, no, you're a fat sod. You know, I really felt uncomfortable with myself, and that really highlighted it more. Just seeing these recordings of myself doing whisky tastings, photographs of myself like that, and I knew I'd put weight on over the last few years, but you know, you never really notice it until you're reflecting back on yourself. Tried many diets, the keto, the Atkins, just cutting back, and all were really unsuccessful. I've never knock off half a stone or something like that in a month, but they were unsustainable, and as quick as I took it off, I was putting it back on again. So yeah, there'd be a bit of look at myself, just no sleeping very well, concentrating at work was pretty poor because I was tired. I was actually getting up in the morning more tired I was when I went into bed, you know. So yeah, it was not in a mess, but you know what I mean. It was just pretty uncomfortable within myself. Is probably the best way to describe it.
Cool. How did we get in touch?
I can't remember.
How did we find each other? I think it was on LinkedIn, something like that. I think we got a chat.
I think young guy, Ricky mentioned you were doing it as well to me too. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. When I saw what you were doing, I thought, why not? We'll give it a bash. Nothing ventured, nothing gained. Was the attitude. You know, we tried a lot of stuff, no work. Let's try something else.
So you've tried the keto and a load of other stuff, right?
Yeah.
What was different about what we've done? Like, why has this worked for you, and why did the other stuff not work? I mean, you've lost 37 pounds now in 6 months.
We've got a coaching call later. I've got news on that one.
Okay.
I don't know. I'm pretty stubborn. I was determined to try and do something about it, and I think just over the first 3 or 4 weeks with yourself, Christian, was really just looking at what you were doing. you know, looking at your diet. I remember taking photographs of everything I ate in the first week or 2 weeks, I think it was. Said that, and I actually thought I had not a bad diet, to be honest with you. I had the occasional rump steak supper as I have, or a Chinese takeaway or something. But in general terms, I thought my diet was okay. For the day, I was eating healthy fruit, vegetables. I suppose interspersed with the takeaways because my work-life balance was pretty rubbish. Sitting at my desk sometimes 7, 8 o'clock at night, can't be bothered cooking. Just lots of things. Taking the easy option, I think, is probably the best way. So that was all wrong, and starting working with yourself and just planning. Because I remember one of the first things I wanted to do was plan my meals, be a bit better organised. Starting to do that. So, you know, whilst I still go every day to Tesco's because I want to get my steps up, I'm better planned. I know what I'm doing a wee bit better than what it was before. I'm finishing work earlier. Generally, I'm determined to finish for 5:30 unless I have a specific call to go on. So I can go for a walk, get my dinner in, eat a bit earlier as well. I was eating, and just general. And at the end of the day, I've never been hungry in the 24 weeks. I never once have thought this is rubbish because I'm hungry in the morning or I'm hungry at night time. Or it's just never happened. You know?
Okay. Why do you think that is, Neil? Why do you think you've never been
I think
hungry?
Looking back and all the macros that you speak about during the period as well, and just getting that balance right. And we've had many discussions over the 80-20 principle, which is everywhere in life, and it's basically that with your food as well. Eat properly better 8% of the time, and within reason, do what you want for the other 20%. You know, if you try to lose weight, I was a bit more dogged at it, sort of thing, in being stricter. But now I'm quite honestly, yeah, I'm more or less running to the 80-20 principle. I still have my rump steak supper, a white pudding, a Chinese takeaway, in the pub yesterday for 3 pints and a couple of Morgan Diet Coke. So yeah, it's pretty bizarre. But I think when I reflect and look back on things, you can see just the small changes. I remember you saying, was it 30 or 32 small changes or something like that up to, and honestly, they're so small, you've really not noticed them. My steps, I said, and it's getting that balance right with eating and steps. And I was doing 10,000 steps most days before it, but I wasn't committed to it. And very early on, I decided I'm going to commit to this. I upped my target to 15,000 steps, which is 105,000 every week. And since I've done that, I think it was early mid-December. I've no failed that yet, and hit my target or my record last week at 132,000 steps. So
nice.
I'm pretty pleased with that. Yeah, and again, it's time. I'm self-employed, so I've got a bit more time, and I can understand people being in employment or whatever, being a bit more time restricted. But I get up in the morning, the first thing I do if I've not got an early morning meeting is I go and do a 3-mile walk. It takes me an hour. Have my breakfast, start work. My lunchtime, instead of just going downstairs and prepare my lunch and sit and watching Sky News or whatever on the telly, I put my walking boots on and I go for a walk, then have my lunch when I come back in, and deliberately didn't buy my dinner until that day to force me out again in an evening. And it's minimum 15,000, and an average between 15 and 20,000 steps every day. Time's the hardest part, but I've just been pretty stubborn and made myself make the time. Get up earlier if I have to. 15-20 minutes gives you a head start. So yeah.
Nice. There's quite a couple of interesting stuff that you mentioned there, which I want to give my perspective on it.
Yep.
Like, a lot of people do think that you've been there as well yourself. I've been there. When we go out and we look at fitness as a way, you know what, I want to lose X amount of weight. I want to look like this. I want to feel like this. But we forget the other fundamental parts of our life, right? Like finding that balance, and we don't want to be so strict with ourselves, and then we have maybe one little blip, as we call it, and then we feel guilty and feel bad for it and end up giving up, right? So you mentioned there that you're still able to go out to the pubs, have a few pints. You're still able to have your rump steak supper, right? still able to have your whiskeys, beers. That's what life is about, right? And ultimately changing how we feel in our bodies and losing weight. It's all about as a means to support the things that we want to do in life, right? To enjoy the things that we love, we all love doing. Maybe spending time, spending time with the kids and doing nice stuff. We don't want to be spending hours and hours in a gym. We don't want to be like eating rabbit food and broccoli and chicken and separate from everyone else. You know what I mean? So it's all about finding that balance. So how do you feel that? Like, would you agree with that, by the way? Would you?
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. It's and again that goes to the 80-20 principle, doesn't it? And that's basically the balance. And again the food going through it. And to be honest with you, you've not told me anything over the last 2 or 4 weeks. I really don't know, but you just didn't bring it to the front of your mind. About, if you look at the plate, I think it's 40% carbs, 30% fat, 30% protein, and you always think, if I'm going to try and lose weight, why am I eating 30% of my diet is fat? But it's just getting that balance right and getting the balance right with exercise. Absolutely, yeah. I think one doesn't go without the other to an extent. But I would still think if I didn't do 15,000 steps a day and stuck with 10,000, I maybe lost exactly the same weight, or maybe a couple of pounds less. I don't know, but I certainly know that we lost a substantial amount of weight just doing that.
Yeah. So let's look at, like, a lot of people tend to think that they need a diet plan, a workout plan. That's it. Right? So as you know, here we use the 5 pillars. Could you explain, like, how this program goes a bit deeper than that? It's not just about dieting. It's not just about exercise. Like, how is this program different in that way, and how is that deeper, and how has that helped you achieve the results? And you mentioned there that I've not really told you what to do ever in this program, right?
I think the 5 pillars was based on what you want to achieve. Set your own goals. I think we spend more time with my grandkids, get my work-life balance better, and subconsciously, and I remember reviewing it with you some weeks after we'd done it, and nothing had changed over these 5 pillars, and each one fed into the other. So when you actually took time to sit down, what you were trying to, or what I was trying to achieve, to get my work-life balance better, to get ABC, everything actually fed into each other, and it actually just kept driving you from there. And I think the whole process it started to make myself accountable to myself. I was never accountable to you. Sometimes it felt like on a Monday, God, I better get this right for Christian. I hope I've lost a couple of pounds, but very quickly I realised I'm not losing a couple of pounds for Christian. I'm losing a couple of pounds for Neil Forbes. And very early on I got that, and then it becomes easier just to challenge yourself, hold yourself accountable, but without being testing yourself. And I've used the word many times to you as well. It was easy. It was easy because things just fell into place, because it's not just dieting, it's not just walking, it's the coaching calls as well, and just making me stop and think why. And I think once I was understanding why I was doing it, the benefits of doing it, and God knows all what, it made it simple. It really did. And I didn't mean to demean the whole process, but I actually found it easy to stick to it and do, because I was never hungry. I was enjoying walking. I do a lot of my thinking time driving and walking, my business planning. So when I'm out for a couple of hours over a day, my business is far better, far stronger. I'm getting back in, I'm concentrating better, losing weight, feeling better, I'm sleeping better. And it just all goes into one pot, basically. It's quite bizarre how it does happen, but it certainly does happen.
Yeah, absolutely. I totally get that. Like, it's 100% right. It seemed easy because you got clear on the why, right? You just spoke about that there. Why am I doing this? Who am I doing this for? Right? Yeah. It's all about asking these questions for yourself. And there's also that part of the the 12 weeks, we do the values assessment, don't we? So we look at your core values in life, we look at what's most important. Like when we are clear on what is important to us, once we bring this into our awareness, like our behavior starts to adjust and starts to conform towards what is important to us, right?
Yeah.
And it seems easy. It seems a lot easier. It doesn't have to be massive struggle. Of course, like for a lot of, I feel that the stuff that we do, the written stuff, there has to be like work on your mind, right? Getting you to think and looking at stuff and what do I need to work on? What do I want? Start asking yourself these questions, right? In the normal world, for a lot of men, the thing is like, oh, I just need to get beast myself and lose weight. Like they find it hard to reflect and look at themselves and do this sort of stuff. Can you tell us a wee bit about this process of writing stuff down and reflecting and looking at yourself? Like, what did you have to do? How did you find it? Was it difficult for you? Was it easy for you? And how has that benefited you?
Yeah, it was quite difficult because, you know, I think Scottish males are probably the most reserved in the world, and you know, you didn't actually look at yourself very much. But and I think we had that conversation as well. You know, at times people were coming to me, "My God, you know, you've lost so much weight," and there's times I looked at myself in the mirror and didn't see it, and I still don't see it. It's only putting these photographs up. But on the written word, it was difficult in the fact that, you know, you're looking at yourself, thinking about yourself, thinking what you're trying to achieve, thinking what what your goals are, what you want to do, and how to do it. And it's difficult to describe. It just falls into place. And there's a few times there was one, I think it was the 30 points that you had to write down your feelings and thoughts over the week. And I only remember getting to about 16 and burst my head on it. Then after the week we discussed it and the next coaching call, and I went back the following week and it just clicked into place. Because yeah, it's that was probably the biggest challenge, is writing down. But it just makes you stop. You're writing your feelings down rather than thinking your thoughts and going straight out your head again. You're thinking, putting them down, you review them on a Monday or whenever you have the coaching call. And I quite often just look back to them. And as you know, the times I write everything down, and I always have all my working life. And I could refer back to the very first week if you could give me an idea of how we were doing it. So it's still there. It's conscious in my mind. It brings it to the forward in my mind, which it's just that we, how can I describe it? It becomes second habit or just total habit. You know, I'm going to go for my walk. I'm going to do this. But you forget what your goals are, what you're trying to achieve. I'm trying to achieve better work-life balance. See the kids more, and even at one time there, you say that I ran up Murder Hill with my grandson. Before I started this, I was so overweight I wouldn't even tried it. I was fearing in case I fell down. Indeed, but I didn't. And you know, I hadn't run up Murder Hill since I was a teenager or early 20s. So yeah, I think that the written word, and while it's difficult and it's cumbersome, and you think why, but once you do it and you actually get through it and reflect back, and it's like everything else when you take notes or anything. And you read back on your notes the next day from a meeting or whatever the case would be, it springs into mind, and that's what makes it a bit easier. So yeah, it's an integral part, not the easiest part, because you've got to assess yourself, which most of us are not very good at, but worthwhile doing, definitely.
Yeah, thanks. So yeah, Murder Hill, that was, I remember in my football days, we used to go and do pre-season training up there. Yeah. So
I was about 13-year-old, maybe younger, and Jock Wallace, the old Rangers manager, used to take me. Yeah, I think he was coaching at Hearts at the time, but he was brought up with my mum, next door to my mum, so he knew the family. He said, "Come on, son, I'll take you down here to show you how to play football." You know, it was great, and I was brought up down in Murder Hill playing football as well, and up and down there, carrying people on your back, then straight into the they see after it. Doesn't matter what the temperature was, and it was damn good, damn good. But they kept me around doing more than once.
Yeah. So where do you think you would be now, Neil, if you hadn't signed up to doing this? Like, what do you think you would have done, and where do you think that you would be now?
I think it would probably be the never-ending cycle of, right, I need to do something about it. Cut down on the beer, cut down on this, cut out carbs, lose half a stone, screw up one day and think, well, I'm going back to square one again. And that was the problem. You're always going back to what I was doing before. And a lot of things, yeah, I've not had a bacon roll for weeks. I've not had a cooked breakfast. But I will be doing that in the next wee while. And I think the whole thing is where it would be. I'm just going back to where it would be, I suppose. Yeah, I would probably be the same weight as I was before. Shift half a stone, putting it back on. But now I feel I'm planning, and it's no, if I screw up one day, I've got tomorrow. If I screw up 1 week, I've got next week. If I screw up for a month, I've got next month. So I think I'm pretty confident in my head now. Even if it is a month and I put half a stone on, I now know the process to get back off quite easy. So yeah, I'm comfortable with it, and I think without it, it would probably just be on the never-ending cycle of weight on, weight off. Take half a stone off and probably put 8 pounds back on. But I think that's what's been going, because my weight has been creeping up. Yeah, I never really noticed it.
Yeah, that's another important point I think you mentioned there, about if you do, for example, have a few pints and stuff, right? For many of us, and you've probably been there, I've been there, it's like, I've messed up, fuck it now. I'm not gonna.
Why bother? Yeah.
Why bother, right? But now it's like, I'm making that choice. I know I can get sort that out the next day. I can cut back or do more exercise or whatever, right? I always like have a choice. And I think that's the same for you now, is that taking that responsibility and that ownership for your choices. Like, I can do this. It's not an issue. It's not a problem. Just keep going, right? And when you do that, I think it removes all the feelings of guilt, the feelings of failed, of messed up, and you feel empowered, right? What's your thoughts on that?
Absolutely, yeah. It's the guilt trip breaks you. I always think, I say the keto Atkins was always the one. If you just felt you had carbs by mistake, or you put weight a pound back on, and you just go back to your old ways, you think, well, to hell with it. But I think now it's more of a balance and understanding the balance. And once you've got that balance, yeah, I could go and have half a dozen pints or fish supper on the way home or whatever. But no, the next 3, 4, 5 days or the next week, I'm not going to do that again. And I probably within that week I'll be back to where I was the morning of having these pints. So it's a confidence thing as well. I think I'm confident in my mind I can do that now. Whereas before, that guilt trip it probably just took over your mind. And to hell with it, no, why bother? Because I've done it. The old saying goes, as well getting hung for a sheep and a lamb, But I think I'm pretty strong in my mind that if I do have a week off and a week's holiday and all inclusive, whatever case, we pig out for a week, and yeah, a week, 2 weeks after that, just be careful, go back to balancing things. But part of me actually thinking, even if I was picking out, I'm still now like to think I'm getting the protein, the carb balance sort of thing right, So even if I was eating excessively for that week, still try to keep that balance, which is always going to help you, and it's going to be a lot easier to go back again. And it's just, yeah, it becomes second nature.
Yeah, absolutely. So you've obviously come pretty far in a short space of time, 6 months. How has this impacted your life overall?
Very, very positively. Sleeping a lot better. Walking, say, I actually counted up. In the last 8 weeks, I've actually done over 1 million steps, and it's built up over 2.5 million since the 1st of January. That actually was flabbergasting, but I just counted that up to myself. It's a colossal amount, but feeling the benefits of it, feeling good. I've always been a pretty confident individual, but feeling even more confident, if you know what I mean. I didn't look at myself now and think, look at that fat git, you know, you look bloody awful, do something about it. I actually feel really good within myself now. So yeah, it's just been phenomenal for me to get to that stage.
Nice, nice. So in this program, we've, like you said, you find it quite easy, right?
Yeah.
Why would you say that is?
I think probably in reflection, the changes I've made have been so minuscule and so small, you've really not actually noticed it. As I say, you know, the other thing, the traditional way of a diet is you've got to be hungry because you've cut back, and you know, you want to lose a stone in a month or half a stone in a fortnight or whatever the case may be. And I knew it was a 12-week plan. I think I was about a pound short in my original target over the 12 weeks. And I decided I wanted to do it again just to keep going. I think it's probably more normal than what we would do, you know, not measuring to the ounce or whatever, but controlling your protein against your carbs, against your fat, just being a bit more careful of what you eat, just being a bit steady. And I probably overeating carbs, but all my carbs are good carbs I'm eating now. It's mostly fruit. I have wholemeal bread for lunch mostly, and that's it. I have oven chips, I have tatties, but you know, it's the sugar carbs I've really cut out, and that's always been the problem. But I've never really noticed cutting that out, if you know what I mean. It's just small wee tweaks and wee turns, and before you know it, the weight was starting to fall off.
Yeah.
And never been hungry. I think that makes it, because you're not even thinking about it then. For me, you're thinking about a diet when you're hungry. You know, that's when you struggle with things. I'm really starving. I really need to do this. I want to do that. But I've in all honesty, never once been at a state any time of the day thinking, God, I'm starving. I wish I hadn't eaten this or want to eat that. It's just never happened. So I've been pretty full up, enjoying my dinners, enjoying my lunches, and breakfasts, and yeah.
Nice. And we've only made what, 2-3 changes a week, haven't we?
Yeah. If that, there's some, as I say, no, honestly, I couldn't tell you because they've been that small. I can't remember what we done 24 weeks ago,
Yeah.
and I didn't even notice the changes now, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Because they're so minuscule, and well, just what I'm saying is the changes in my head, but within yourself, I've never noticed it, and that's why I refer to it as easy, because it wasn't difficult to make these changes. Just 1-2 a week, as you say. Yeah, it's probably right.
If 6 months ago, when you were just starting out, if I'd said to you, in 6 months' time, you're going to be here, these are all the changes that we're going to make, what would you have thought?
You're talking shite. Don't rubbish. I shouldn't swear. No, I would accept it. I would have lost some weight, but I don't think I would have accepted I feel as good as I do now, if that makes sense. Yeah, and it's just all it's been so natural, and to be honest with you, I feel really good just now. It's a lot lighter. It's the lightest I've been now for 30 years, I would say. I was always pretty heavy, even playing football thrice a week, training 4 or 5 nights a week in my early 20s. I was probably carrying over 14 stone and fit as a butcher's dog, as they say. And now, as I say, I had an illness 21 years ago, and I put weight on after that because it impacted on my joints and that sort of thing. I was on blood pressure tablets. For 21 years, they've actually halved my strength of blood pressure tablets now, and with a view in 6 months or 5 months now, probably coming off them. You know, so just all these wee positives there is just health-wise is incredible. But I walk across the road and get sconned with a bus or something like that after I get my body in a good shape. You know, but no, there's just so much benefits. And in all honesty, I really do. I feel good. I feel really good within myself, which is quite unusual.
Cool. Nice. So we're just about to wrap up over here. So what, someone who has never done any sort of coaching work on this before, right? Like, how would you describe the coaching process of this? Like, getting on a calls with me each week, and how does it work?
I think to start with, it was pretty uncomfortable, and as I alluded to earlier on, I think Scottish males are probably the worst in the world for reservations in many things, and open up and just talking your thoughts and your opinions. But in all honesty, it was so relaxing with you. After 3-4 weeks, no problem. It just gave me the confidence to open up and chat and discuss and put out your thoughts there. And never once corrected me if I was wrong. And I kept saying to you, you know, what do you think? Well, it's what you think, Neil, is important. And but you were just, I was always looking for a reassurance I was doing it, making the right choices and setting my goals each week and setting that. And we got to the goals. I think the last 7 or 8 weeks, my goals never changed because my attitude was, it's working, why change it? And I was beating all these goals. So it was just the confidence, yourself, and the coaching, the manner of the coaching, it just gives you confidence in yourself to discuss it. And the more you discuss it, the more you reflect on it. The more you reflect on it, the better the results were. And I think it's just a whole domino effect there. But I'd probably say the coaching side was probably the hardest part of it, because you've got to let go of your feelings a wee bit and discuss your thoughts and your opinions and your views with somebody else. And that was my opinion. I think a lot of people are the same. So yeah, the rest of it was simple, straightforward, but it works. It certainly, once you look back, it blends in together like that sort of thing. Is the coaching's an integral part of it, just to make you stop and think and reflect and plan what you're wanting to achieve, and gives you confidence to achieve it. So yeah, very important and good. I've enjoyed it. Enjoyed the Monday mornings after. It took me a while to relax and enjoy them, but the last 12-16 weeks, yeah, definitely.
Nice, cool, Neil. What would you say to someone thinking about getting in touch?
Just do it. It's a commitment, but if you're serious about want to feel better, want to lose a bit of weight, I think if you follow the principles, it's impossible not to have it working for you. And it is actually enjoyable, you know, to see the weight falling off, looking at yourself after taking photographs of yourself. And that's the only way. But I think I've said it before. Looking in the mirror, I didn't see it, but I send you the photographs every second week, and you put them up on my own laptop. And I'm not looking at Neil Forbes. I'm looking at a third party, and the difference is phenomenal. And that every second Monday gave me a real big boost. So part of that coaching is just looking at yourself from a different angle, from out of your body, can I say, looking at it as a third party. And that's when I started to see the difference. And that's when, once you start to see the difference, it evolved constantly. But anybody thinking about it, I would no hesitation in recommending to do it. Just it is enjoyable.
Cool. All right, Neil. So you've obviously absolutely smashed it past 6 months. So thanks for jumping on today.
No, not at all.
I'll see you on the coaching call.
Absolutely. Class.
All right. Cheers.
See you later. Cheers, Kristen.